Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
I had a friend in college, and he always talked about people in really glowing terms. It was like he could see anybody and would see the positive in them. I was envious because I didn't always see it that way. And maybe this is revealing something about me, as you'll see as move along in this particular episode. But yeah, you would bring up anybody and it was like, oh yeah, they're super nice, they're super smart, or whatever, and that was him, right? I mean, it was, he was smart, he was nice, he was caring, he was generous, he did all those things. It reminds me of an episode I did with the Networking RX Minute. I don't know if these are available out there anymore, but for about 3 years I was doing a 1-minute podcast called the Networking RX Minute. It was just 1 minute every day, just a quick little story. And number 936 was titled "The Two Travelers and the Farmer." And I share in that particular episode a quick story. A traveler comes upon a farmer hoeing in his field, and he asks, the traveler asked the farmer, "What sort of people live in the next town?" And the farmer replied, what people were like where the traveler came from. And the traveler said, "Well, they're a bad lot. Troublemakers, lazy too, incredibly selfish. No one could be trusted. I'm happy to be moving on." And the farmer replied, "Well, I'm afraid you'll find the same sort in the next town." So, disappointed, the traveler just trudged on. Later, another traveler came along and asked, "What sort of people live in the next town?" And again, the farmer replied, "What were the people like where you've come from?" And that traveler said, "Well, they were the best people in the world, hardworking, honest, and friendly. I'm sorry to leave." And the farmer replied, "You'll find the same sort in the next town." And so the lesson that I shared in episode 936 is what you see in the world is what you'll likely seem to find. I thought, when I first read that, I came across that little fable. I thought it was very interesting, and then I had an issue of Cyblog, and there was an article in there titled "How to Instantly Read Someone's Personality," with one question. And what the researchers indicate is that asking someone what they think about other people reveals much about their own personality. And this is actually a study. This is not just conjecture. And the reason is that people tend to see more of their own qualities in others. So again, my friend from college who just saw great things in other people, that was his, that was him. He saw himself in other people. Generous people see others as generous, and selfish people see others as selfish. In other words, they're looking for the trait that they have. The author of the study says there's a huge suite of negative personality traits that are associated with viewing others negatively. The simple tendency to see negatively indicates a greater likelihood of depression and various personality disorders. In other words, people tend to see who they are. And this conclusion came from 3 studies. In one, people were asked to judge the positive and negative characteristics of 3 other people. The more positively they judged those people, the more happy and enthusiastic, capable, and emotionally stable they turned out to be themselves. And obviously they're doing studies on, they're studying the people and putting people through a battery of you can, put questions, to people and figure out where they are, personality studies. And what they found is that people who scored as being happy, enthusiastic, emotionally stable, saw that in other people. Just just people who judge others more positively also turn out to be more satisfied with their own lives. And they set that against those who judged others more negatively, had higher levels of narcissism and antisocial behavior. So when people, I run into people all the time. You run into people all the time. Maybe you've been this person. Maybe I've been this person. You tend to see the glass as being half empty with respect to people. It's really kind of a reflection as to who we are. And if you want to know, as the article title is, how to instantly read someone's personality, you just find out how they look at other people. And the researchers they returned to the same people a year later and found that the results were much the same. That suggests that people's ratings of others says a lot about them, and it remains stable over time. To me, this study says a couple of things. One, we can learn a lot about people by simply listening to how they talk about others, how they view others, what they see in other people, what rises to the surface. Because we're all a glass either half full or half empty, right? I mean, we all have good things and we all have bad things. And if people see the good things, then what they're doing is they're really reflecting who they are. Just like my friend from college. Just, that he's just a great person. And he saw greatness in other people, even though I might not. And again, maybe that says something about me. I was always fascinated by that. It's like, really, you see that? Because I don't see that. And so we can learn a lot about who people are by how they view other people, how they talk about other people. But then by the same token, we could probably be better people just by taking the time and maybe looking for those positive characteristics in other people. And quite frankly, if you want to build a network, you want to be that person that people want to be around. And people want to be around the people who view great things about other people. I mean, I had other friends in college where it was, everybody was a narcissist or, whatever, a jerk, lazy, whatever. I just felt uncomfortable around them. I always felt comfortable around my friend who saw glowing things in other people. I didn't always agree. And maybe I didn't, maybe I had issues and I'll own up to that. Maybe I had other information, but it always fascinated me that he saw the goodness in other people. Oh, they're great. They're this, they're that. And my friend was too. And, I certainly wanted to be around him because he was a good person. But I sensed that he saw good things in me as well. So we can really kind of control the narrative. We can be one of those two travelers coming up upon the farmer. What are the people that we're going into a new setting. What are we going to find? Well, what are the people that we had in our life before? If they weren't good people, we're probably going to find not good people again. But if there were great people, if we saw greatness in people, we would probably find those things. Well, we would, because we're kind of in tune to looking for those characteristics. Everybody is generous. It's just a question of degree. Everybody has failings. It's just a question of degree. Everybody's happy. It's just a question of degree, and it's just a question of trying to find what those things are. So if you want to know about other people, if you want to know what the personality is of other people, get in a conversation with them about how they see others in their life. And if you want to be a better person, you want to project that you're a good person, say great things about other people in your life.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.